Hey everyone, I'm Tiffany Harlick, and it is my great privilege and honor to introduce my friend, my colleague, Mary Jane Brigger. Mary Jane is going to give you an exciting take on really the Celtic version of Samhain. Mary Jane is a mystic. She pulls heavily from the Essenes, the tradition, the mystic traditions. I just have full body chills talking to her. When we were doing the pre-show talk, we were both like, they're here. So this is going to be a very spirit-filled podcast episode. You're in for a big Halloween treat. The way that we're going to structure it is I'm going to let Mary Jane talk a little bit about herself, her practices, what she does over there in her healing cottage. She is going to then tell us a little bit about the legends and lores and practices really of Celtic Samhain, which is Halloween, the root of Halloween. And then the most exciting part that you're going to want to stay around for is that she's going to do a cauldron demonstration. So this is the magic cauldron of Cerridwen. So she may channel some Cerridwen information for us as part of your Halloween experience. So welcome, Mary Jane. Thank you so much for your time, wisdom, experience with me today. Really appreciate it. I know everybody's so excited to see this episode.
Hi, Tiffany. Oh, this is an honor, and this is like my favorite thing to do. It's so exciting because there is so much misunderstanding regarding the Celtic magic, Celtic paganism that has really been diminished and ridiculed by religion and that over the centuries. And so this is an exciting time as more of the indigenous cultures are now arising. We are embracing and we're realizing the true blessings and sacredness that they are. And the same thing happened to the Celts. That was a culture that was wiped out when Christianity came and took over. In fact, many of the stories that we hear today, many of the fairy tales and different things, aren't always the original because they were oral traditions. However, it is now being found that the Druids did write some down, but another time. But it has become very Christianized. Well, so as time has gone on, the oral stories, the sacredness of this religion, and what is so beautiful about the Celtic, I'm going to say beauty, Celtic magic, and I'm going to say that with a K, for the simple reason when we put a K on it, it takes it away from the word of magic, which is more of the man-made magic, the illusion. K adds that spiritual aspect, that sacredness to it.
So my herbalist uses it with a K, and I just love it when people use the K. You know, they're the real deal.
Exactly. I mean, don't look at any of the resources or it's with a K. And I'll tell you what, just adding that K, exactly what happened to you was this magic happened. Because magic is about transformation. And that is one of the beauties about the Celtic faith, the Celtic beauty and magic of it, is that it is about transforming the self. And it's also very feminine. And by that, it's a very mother-based, a very feminine-based energy in the fact that it empowers us, infuses us, and embodies us to be that healer.
That's so true.
That nourisher, the caregiver, the community, the gatherer, and the mother. And so she's also the creator. And so the Celts honored that because they were people of the land. And so everything they believed in, how they lived their lives was by the land. But when you have that kind of a relationship with the land, you are in relationship with the mother. You're in relationship with all that is spirit, the elementals and so forth. So a very beautiful, beautiful faith, a very beautiful magic is also enhanced by the fact it is the goddess energy, the mother goddess. And there's many Celtic goddesses that all represent the mother. One that we will speak about today is Cerridwen, and she is one of the divine voices of the Cosmic Mother.
Oh, this is awesome. So
This is
before you go into that, would you tell everybody a little bit about you, where
oh,
you are
oh,
practicing, how you got your gift,
mm,
things like this? You have so many great stories. Guys, Mary Jane and I trained under Lisa Williams for over a year this last year in the Master Teacher Program. And so I have the advantage of knowing a lot of her juicy, good stories and beautiful, potent stories. But I would love for you to just talk a little bit about your gift. I haven't brought in many trance or channel type information to this audience before. And so I would love for you to just talk about you for a minute too.
wow. I love talking about the whole beauty of it. I forget that there's a me behind it.
Are you in it? Yeah. No, those are great introduction.
Oh, Tiffany, I am so blessed. When several years ago, I began studying the Gnostic Bibles and the Essene communities, and again, that's a whole different subject in itself. But the Essenes were considered one of the many early wisdom teachers, the mystery teachers, who actually were bringing forth from Sumeria this teaching of the beauty of the self, the embracing of the mother and the land, the honoring of the sacred feminine and the divine mother within all of us. And one of the things that the Essenes are known as that they worked with called shining ones. Mm-hmm. In Ireland, they might be called fairy. Mm-hmm. Here they'll be called light beings. Mm-hmm. Either way, they were beings of light who, when the Essenes were sent out of Jerusalem, don't have my Bible real clear there, but they went to the caves of Qumran, and that is where they were taught. And so many of the teachings that were found back in 1940 called the Diakamati scrolls are many of the systems, many of what we are now realizing today. And how does that connect to the Celts? It connects to the Celts because when back then during the reign of, I won't say, but of the goddess, when the goddess was honored, they were the initiates. It was the high priestess. Mm-hmm. We were the priestesses. I mean, many of us here are here. We were former priestesses. Many of us are high priestesses. Hello, Tiff. And so we are here now in this time and place. Mm-hmm. Well, when their teachings and when it was decided by King Josiah to wipe them out, they also, that is when the day of the witch began, of when the initiate became evil. So as time went on through all the cultures and that, the feminine became something that was considered dirty and weak and so forth. The Celts came from the Middle East. And so they traveled across time, a very powerful group. And when they arrived in Ireland, very short version. Mm-hmm. And that is where they settled. Again, they loved their land. There was many different cultures. There was also the ancient race of the Tuatha Dé Danann, which are the fairies or the light beings, the shining ones that help teach them how to farm, how to take the land, how to live with the land and be the land. So I started that many years ago, studying that. And as I did, it awakened me to my own lineage as Irish, which is mostly of what I am. And I went to Ireland. And when I did, I fully embodied the spirit of the mother of the Celtic culture. In time, I moved to this little cottage out here in, of all things, West Salem, Ohio. I don't think, that's been the joke amongst my friends. Of course, you found a place in Salem. And I have a little white cottage here out in the farmlands in Amish country here in West Salem, Ohio. And of all things, I have a little white cottage. So I am definitely the crone and the little white cottage in the woods.
I love it.
So over time, it was during a shamanic, I had a shaman visiting for 4 days. And he was teaching us shamanic practices of the masculine and the feminine energy. Mm-hmm. And so when he went to anoint each one of us with the sacred feminine, I literally went flying backwards. And they had to put me into a chair. And I've been channeling the Great Mother ever since.
That's fascinating.
So over time, my practice has become that of channeling the Divine Mother, of bringing forth the divine wisdom of the Celts and so many, but also of the star beings. The Essenes worked very closely with the star beings.
My friends. The
Pardon me.
astrologers, yeah.
Amen. Amen. I channel for an astrologer, and it's some of the best time ever because I always say, "Oh, you bring in the big guns, let's go." But
Very
it's
galactic energy.
pardon me.
It's very galactic energy, yeah.
Very much, and the Celtic is very, and all of our indigenous cultures worked with the star beings. They look to the sky. So that's one of the many things as we move into what is Samhain. And so Samhain is one of the beauty of the Celts is they recognize the light and the dark of the day. They don't actually go from light to light, like first the sunrise to sunset. They go from sunset to sunrise. So they have a beautiful, very beautiful blending between spirit and here. Yet they honor the earth and they honor what the Mother Earth has to offer, but it's honored in balance and harmony. So you will always find the Celtic wisdom in magic is in balance and harmony. So they were called wise women, and they were goddesses. They were the high priestess. And then as time, the wise woman became the one in the community you called for when someone was birthing a baby. They were the midwife. When someone was ill, you called the wise woman. When you needed spiritual direction, you called the wise woman. So where you would call the shaman or the medicine man, medicine woman in other cultures, here you called the wise woman. And so, in fact, in Grimm's fairy tale, there's no mention of fairy. They all speak of the wise woman.
Oh, I haven't noticed.
Yes, the wise woman was the healer, was the voice of the community, was the voice of Mother Earth, and that went around. So as you can see, this is very, very beautiful. And I'm just tickling the top of how beautiful this this magic is. And why magic? Why not say something else? Because magic is what? It transforms us. And that's a lot of where the magic is within the beauty of, goes back into the Essenes, is that it's about transformation of self. And as we transform, we serve others to help them transform. So this is where I became very, as you can see, she is here. And she has this Cerridwen. And that is Cerridwen. Some say it with a K, it doesn't matter. I go by C because when she first presented herself to me, she did a big neon light going, Cerridwen, Cerridwen, Cerridwen. So I honor how she presented herself to me first. So Cerridwen is a Celtic goddess, and she is the one that is associated with the witch and the cauldron, the crone. And the reason that is because she is the goddess of intuition, psychic wisdom, speaking to the other world. The Celts work with the other world. They don't call it the afterlife, it's called the other world. I love the play there because that is where we find our ancestors. This is where we find many of it, the healing, we call them allies, the helping allies that come to work with us in that.
So I want you to say that a little louder because I want everybody to hear it. It's so
okay.
The other world. I love it.
The other world. And the other world, in some respects, someone might say that sounds just like an energy field. Okay. Because we are working with different dimensions. And that is what I like. I love very much as working in these dimensions because we literally, as in any shamanic work, we visit the other worlds. So we have, but we go by the, the silent tree of life. So, we have the underworld, the middle world, and the upper world. And so we do the same thing. The shamanic work, it's all very similar, expressed differently. But getting back to Cerridwen, what was a beautiful goddess, high priestess energy was turned into something ugly and evil and to be afraid of. And it's not. Like I said, she is the goddess of intuition. She is the goddess of psychic abilities, of the ability to walk into back. We blend back and forth between worlds as one. She is also the goddess. She is the bringer of inspiration and the goddess of transformation. So this is something that I won't go into now, but the reason she is a study, but Cerridwen is keeper of the cauldron. And as a mother, there is a story called the story of Cerridwen and Gwen Bach. And that's actually for another time and place. But she is also the biological mother of Merlin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very cool. Actually, when you read it, it sounds a lot like Moses.
I love it. Okay.
Very interesting, but it's all about shape shifting, but it's all about also the beauty of the cauldron. So the way I am going to introduce you to Cerridwen today in the Celtic world, it's through the cauldron.
Okay.
Because the cosmic mother also is the cosmic womb. And within the cauldron, what we have here represents the cosmic womb. It can represent our own creation. So when we go to do cauldron magic, we do it with intention and clarity. And then we just receive it in gratitude. So the reason we have this, because what do you do in a cauldron? You cook, right? And you cook what your intention is. So whatever, if you're making a soup, you're throwing in your vegetables, you're throwing in your herbs. Then you're going to, we will explain this, you're going to stir it right. And at just the right temperature, that aroma and fragrance comes out. And you're like, that soup. And that soup makes you feel good, you know, maybe gives you a sense of warmth. That's the same thing that we're doing here, except we're putting in our intentions. So you don't need a cauldron like this. I'm very fortunate to have a witch's apothecary not too far from me. So I went and picked this out. When you go to buy a cauldron, you can get bigger. I think this is 3-quart and it's cast iron.
I was going to ask you if we so here in Texas, right, if we can just use our molcajetes.
I have a cauldron in my front yard. So it was there when I came. You know, this place was waiting for me. But that's what I was going to just show you is that you can do that. But really, I went to the dollar store and I bought these. Great. And as long as they're fireproof, as long as they can burn, I would suggest putting sand, and I buy terrarium sand to put at the bottom of these bowls whenever, because very often I use those and not the cauldron when I have retreats here in sacred circles. Okay. So, but I use this and I have formed a relationship with it. I have my little one, which again, like I was telling Tiffany earlier, some people like votive candles. I fire up my cauldron. So I got this on Amazon. And so you can get these if you really want the real deal, but it doesn't matter. I have a camping stove behind me, a big one that I use, a brown one that you would charcoal cook in. I use that cauldron for bigger gatherings, or if I just really want to clear the cottage out here. So it doesn't matter. What matters is the symbol that we are going to bring forth today of the Divine Mother of Cerridwen, and that this represents the womb of creation. So we go, okay, what do we want to create? Well, let's pull together our tools. So I have the cauldron, which I explained. I have a spoon, and as you can see, my spoon is a little crooked because a wonderful gentleman, I only see him at one psychic fair per year, but he makes these specifically, and this one I believe is ash. But it's crooked because when I go to put my intention in, which I will show you here soon, I'm going to stir the smoke. But the path that I want to come out, I don't want straight. It needs to be a crooked path. So it's causing this crooked path. Then as the smoke comes out, I have my besom broom. I got this from Etsy.
Okay.
But this is what the Celt or the wise woman will use. Instead of a feather, you'll see me do this. And I blow the smoke because the Celts cleanse the area.
And so we have this on video, but this will also go out to audio. So anybody that's not able to see this, what she's doing is she's got this beautiful little woven broom that is
Whisk broom.
handheld. What did you call it?
A whisk broom, those little tiny brooms you buy at the hardware store or something.
And so hers has these beautiful flowers. And I'm sure you could make your own with different herbs and different remedies that you want to include that invoke the magic of. But what she's saying is that she can use that broom as a way to like waft the smoke out that's coming out of the cauldron, just like in the shamanic path. You see people using feathers, or you see people using shells, or you see people using all kinds of things to waft the smoke. But what you're saying is in your tradition, it's this beautiful little herbal handheld broom.
That's basically a collection of twigs.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, like, you making your own, I know for many shamanic practices and on ours too, we will decorate a walking stick or something. So this one has a crystal on it, and it's decorated. Like I said, I got mine from Etsy.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I got another one that I have too. But it's basically, you can do it with anything. You can make this, like I only use these type of brooms in my cottage here to sweep. So it's, if you want something relaxing, get a besom broom, and I bought mine at Lowe's, my big one, and sweep outside. It's very, when you go back and forth, it's very grounding, but you can just sweep things away. So I find that actually to be a very meditative practice. That's just an aside here. So, but what do we create? So first we want to honor. Now I have a blue crystal here. This, what the Celts do is we honor the elements of sky, represented by blue. I use different containers, but I want it to be seen. Water, and this actually comes from a sacred well. And land. This actually, for me, I hope there's many different lands in this little scoop here. I have many people bring me back dirt. You want to send back dirt? So I have dirt. That was in my early shamanic teachings to have that. So we honor, but we'll say, where is fire? Well, in Celts, fire is considered transforming. So it's not an element. It's considered cleansing and burning. So we're going to be using fire here. Okay. Now we're going to create and start the cauldron. But what comes out of the cauldron? I already mentioned that it's a soup. But what we're going to create is called the Awen. A-W-E-N. And when we create an Awen, what we're doing is a smoke will come. And that smoke is considered to be 3 rays. And those 3 rays means what comes out is our inspiration, our potential, and our transformation. Celts always work in 3s. Okay. And so I'll also have a little rhyming incantation, spell, blessing, whatever works for you. But that's the other thing that is a lot of fun with Celtic magic is you develop rhymes, little rhyming verses when you do something. I find on days I'm doing this all day long, I'm walking around going, biggity boppity, and it becomes a part of you. So I have one I created this morning.
Oh.
So when the Awen comes up, and we have our intention will go in here first. We'll stir the smoke to create our path, which will not be a straight path because we need to learn, right? We need to gather wisdom. And our inspiration will come up into the universe. And then our inspiration will show us the potential for what new we will be and can be. And then the transformation is becoming that intention. And then that smoke is also considered the Holy Spirit, which is also is the feminine version, is very feminine. So we're going to do that now. I have my spirals of selenite. I like to charge it up a little bit extra. And so we're going to go. So for those who are on audio, I have a little disc, these little discs that you can use for burning incense and so forth. I use those in my cauldron.
Like a
and
little charcoal disc.
charcoal disc. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm going to, I'll get this going and once we'll get this spell. So now I'm going to light it.
Perfect.
So I'm going to put down one there. And actually I'm going to use two because I would like to get a lot of smoke. So hopefully you can still see me, but those who are on audio will matter.
Yeah. No, this is great. You guys know that I love beekeeping. I'm a bee priestess, and so anything that smokes, I just love. So I'm gonna take some of these ideas and use them in my bee smoker.
Oh yeah. Anything where there's a cauldron, actually that's one of the things the Essenes would refer to is their beehive. Mm-hmm. And the bees are the initiates who mm-hmm. serve the cosmic mother. What? Now, many people you can use any different herbs that you want. My preference is frankincense mm-hmm. and rosebuds. And so this is pure frankincense. This is actually even edible. And I'm going to take some of these to create the magic because this is going to be my intention. So what I would say to your viewers is instead of me creating an intention, create your own. Mm-hmm. Think of an intention right now. But the clue is make sure you have it with clarity. We always want clarity in our intention because then that's how our desires come through. So I'm going to take two ingredients now. I'm going to put in the frankincense because frankincense is very mystical. It's also very clearing. Now, I'm going to take rose. Why? Love. Here is because just the love of being, there's a divine love of love being here. And so when we do, we make even our spirit more alive. So now I have that. It's a little hard to see. I'm just going to do a little bit more here on my there.
There we go. Dried rose petals. They're dried rose petals?
Yes, I got those actually from the witch's apothecary. They actually, it's like going to a pharmacy of old days and you just pick out your blends and your herbs and they'll sit there and help you blend them and everything. Mm-hmm. Now we have our cauldron is smoking. Let's give it a little direction. So now we're going to create our awen. We're going to create the intention to inspire us, to see the potential, to see the beauty of us, the potential of who we are, how to transform ourselves into magical beings. So as you can see, smoke is fun.
Smoke is fun. I always tell people you should start smoking and nobody likes that joke.
I come out here and I like to come out here in the cottage and I do meditative yoga and then I'll wind her up. I'll cook her going. I'll get my intention going and then I'll just literally do this.
I love it.
Bless all my chakras and cleanse myself. And, I have to remember that if I'm going somewhere later, I'm going to smell like smoke. But I'm like, I don't care.
I don't either. Yeah, it smells like campfire. It smells heavenly. I love that you used frankincense and rose because I use frankincense in my bee smoker. And I'll use sage and cedar and other things that I have. I have a lot of plantain and yarrow where I live. I mean, acres. Yeah. So I'll dry that and burn it and use it in my bee smoker, which is now going to be my new cauldron. But the idea that you're using frankincense and rose, they're very high frequency resins and petals, very high frequency in the frequency of love or above. And so you can be very mindful and witchy and mercurial and whatever, like this intellect about what you choose, or you can be very simple with what smoke that you're using. Another thing I loved about your demonstration is the idea of stirring the smoke and having a special spoon. there's a woman that taught me how to make jelly several years ago, and my best friend and I actually had a jelly company for quite some time, and we don't have it as a business right now. We just have it as a gift making thing we do in the holidays. But one of the biggest things, now I would not say that this person is particularly uh, Celtic oriented. I'll say it like that. But what she did teach me was to use the spoon and stirring in the jelly is a very mindful opportunity to put your intentions in, to put your magic in, to count, to say your prayers. You know, we have like, of course, the yoga beads, we have the malas, and we can go through each of the beads and say a prayer and say the name of God. I knit, and so I'll say the name of God while I'm knitting. You know, like everything can become an act of devotion. Everything can become
Everything.
a prayer. And so I love that you have the stirring as part of the demonstration today. So I want to
It's a
speak a
very
little.
active magic. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
active in the Celtic magic. Yes.
a way to really embody it. So I want to ask you just a few questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Um,
Just need a drink here real quick.
Yeah, me too. I know it's a heating thing to do the demonstration. So not everybody is going to be comfortable channeling or using their intuition so quickly or getting insight. So let's say that it's your first time and you're stirring up some smoke and you got your favorite cauldron or bowl and you've got your bowl and I mean your spoon and you've got your wafting device and you're putting your intentions in, right? What does kind of a everyday person do at that point? Are they saying a prayer? Are they doing
Yeah,
a little chant that they've made up?
it's
Is
all
that
prayer.
okay?
If if you have a prayer from childhood or one
Mhm.
that you're comfortable in, use that.
Use it. Yeah.
Yeah, I come from Catholic,
Hmm.
so within me is just completely imprinted the Hail Mary, which I change all the time, but all the and so it's which is very magical to do.
Hmm.
And so maybe just pour a simple prayer like that, or anything that you want to say. It's not, it's the intention and how you say it.
Hmm.
And that is like, if anything that we do, it's the words that come from the heart. And if all you can think of is say grace over dinner, then say that
Hmm.
because it's how you're saying it.
Hmm.
So no, this all came in time for me, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Being a Reiki master, to be honest with you, I use the Reiki sounds, the Reiki chants.
Hmm.
So I use that a lot in the beginning, and I still do at times. I'll use, and I'll put in the Reiki symbols and so forth. But as
Hmm.
time has evolved, now I use more of the sigils, making you make your own symbols, or I project them into it. So you just let yourself evolve, but just start. You can just start. I mean, when my husband grows something, I'm like, whoa, yeah, let's go out there. You could do something there. It's you don't need this. This is a symbol of the womb. It's anything that's oval.
Hmm.
You can do water. Oh my God, to do this with water
Hmm.
is so amazing because it's the water is the womb and what we switch in. So there's many different ways, but for simplicity's sake, you can use anything. Use a glass. But if
Yep.
we get, and then just allow the mother to guide you.
Mhm.
Open the heart and allow her to guide you.
Well, this has been so special. Thank you so much, Mary Jane
Yeah.
Brigger, for teaching us about cauldron magic, introducing many people to Cerridwen and
Cerridwen.
Celtic traditions. I love that you can make magic anywhere. I love that you can make magic any time of
Yes.
the year. I love using a K on it. And I just appreciate you coming and speaking about this beautiful side of life. It's
Yeah.
bringing back something that is sacred and holy in your life and sharing it out there with the world. So I'm so grateful for you. If you guys want to check out Mary Jane's work, you can go to Mary Jane Brigger, BRIGGER.com, and you'll be able to learn even more about what she's up to in West Salem. Anything else in closing?
No, just to say thank you so much. I appreciate being here today, and I send all my love and blessings out to your listeners. And You especially, Tiffany.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Mary Jane. And we appreciate you so much. Namaste.
Bye.
All right. It always takes me a second to find the stop button, so just bear with me. More. Pause. Here we go. Thanks, Lucy.